Today's morning of May 10th, and I'm every time Zen just hears me talking. He says, "Who are you talking to, man? Who are you talking to? Come here, bud. Come here." He's demanding. Come here, Zen. So this is reflection on yesterday. I didn't record last night. Yesterday was, hey, come here. Yesterday, man, what did I say about yesterday? I broke the container yesterday. And I have shame around that. I have guilt. There's a sadness that's coming up right now. I spent most of yesterday in bed, and essentially the masturbation desire came through really strong yesterday. And as a result, I wound up going on my phone and went onto one of the dating apps and was toying around with meeting up with someone to have sex. And during that time, there was also like a teasing of masturbation. And it lasted for hours. I mean, I spent at least 4 hours doing that yesterday, maybe probably more. Yeah, there's a sense of, fuck. I'm only on week 3 and I broke the container already. And I don't know, maybe I held an expectation or a hope that the container itself would just hold itself. But even when I was with the monks, both times, I couldn't stop masturbating. Like it has been an addiction of mine. And there's a lot of ways to look at that, right? I think, again, I don't want to just say masturbating's bad. I don't think it is. I actually think it can be very healthy. I've never had a great relationship to it until recently. Over the last couple of years, I've really attempted to heal my relationship to masturbation. And now this next step in choosing not to masturbate, it is recognition that there still is an addiction there and it's still a coping mechanism. And I feel like this is the next step of healing that relationship, of choosing not to, and then really meeting the part of me that says, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? I want it. Just a natural primal sexual urge instinct. And so there's a shame that is coming up. It's not super strong right now. As I kind of described that, there's a lessening, a lightening. There's a guilt, like I said, and the guilt is around like, oh man, I'm not just doing this for me. I'm not recording this for my sake. I mean, partly I am. This is something I want to share with people. And who knows, like maybe this is actually brings some humanity to this whole thing. Brings a sense of, look, I am not perfect by a long shot. And I don't strive to be the way I once did. I strive to reach my potential. I strive to bring that out. But I'm human. Primal urges, sexual urges. I like sex. I think it's a good thing. But also in various traditions, and especially the yogic tradition that I'm most trained in, there is a mastery of life force. There is a learning to transmute and channel the life force in a different way than just release through orgasm. And I want to get to know that on a deeper level. So that's another reason that I'm committing to no masturbation. The other part about it that actually doesn't feel. My mind is trying to tell me that there's a big victory here. The feeling hasn't set in. The feelings of shame and guilt and sadness are mostly what I feel around this when I feel into it. But I actually didn't ejaculate. I actually didn't orgasm. Even though I technically masturbated. But I withheld. I stopped myself from finishing. Which for me is almost the same as I didn't masturbate, because for me masturbation has always been about the release. And I didn't release, even though I again spent hours focusing on this. So in a way there's a victory of like, I went into the belly of the beast. I rode the dragon for hours, all day. And I didn't fully give in. It didn't win, so to say, even though winning and losing isn't, I don't think, the right framework here. There were ways where I feel like I stained the container a little bit, and then there are ways where I'm starting to come into a sense of, oh, this actually might have been a powerful movement in the right direction. I have never spent that much time with contemplating sex, fantasizing, and going on the apps without a release. Never. So that is big as I'm speaking it. That's big. It feels big. I have a sense that this is not the last time that I will be contending with this, even though today, like, I feel it today, but today I feel actually pretty invigorated. I feel a sense of like, okay, I didn't work out the last few days, so I'm gonna do more exercise today, going a long walk, like really physically get moving. The other part that I noticed about yesterday and about this experience I had was, up until this point during this Game of Presence project, most of the things, the energies that I have been experiencing or contending with, especially the painful ones, were just that. They were painful. There was some sense of loneliness or depression or sadness or grief or panic and terror and whatnot. And you know, in the past, a way of coping with that would have been masturbation or TV or whatever. Yesterday, actually, that wasn't there. Yesterday was more the part of me that just doesn't care came up. The part of me that was just like, fuck it, I don't care. And he definitely, you know, in some ways is a very powerful part of me, because as much as I value caring about myself and others in the world, there's a strength to not caring to an extent, as long as it doesn't cause suffering. It's kind of, I try to always walk by that guardrail. But as long as I'm not causing suffering to someone else, not caring can be a superpower. It can be a very strong tool. And yesterday, that part of me came through. That part of me was like, I don't care. I don't care. I cared enough to not release. But I don't care came through strong enough to break the container. And so I'm curious how I meet that moving forward. because I actually, again, in the expectation of like how this might go and what I might have to meet in myself as time goes on, it was more of the pain than I was expecting that might be the thing that breaks the container, not this part of me. And so now there's an awareness of this part of me, and I get to meet this part of me and hopefully integrate this part of me on a deeper level and be able to not care, but then also not give it the power to then cross boundaries. And this part of me has caused pain to others in the past. It's caused pain to myself in the past. I've crossed boundaries more than once with people when this part comes through that I'm not okay with. Even if we look at the grand picture and say, in the long run, crossing those boundaries was actually really healthy for the relationship or for the person or for myself, I don't care. I'm not okay with that. So there is an aspect of I'd love to be in this, I don't care, but I can still hold the space. I don't care, but I can still show up in caring. I don't care, but as more of a, kind of a spiritual detachment rather than an egoic fuck anyone who wants to tell me otherwise. That was my yesterday.